Hi, today we're going to be testing some different air valves for leaks. If you suspect you have a leak in one of your valves, there's a few really simple things you can do to check for that and to take care of it at home. One of the easiest ways to check for leaks in your valves is just with a simple soapy water solution, and dish soap does just fine for this job. We have some mixed up right now. What I want to test for is just to see where the air is coming out of one of these valves, and what I'm just going to start by doing is pouring water in and around the valve. Now this is going to test for two different types of leaks. What I'm watching for is if my air is coming out of the very center of the valve or if it's coming out from around the perimeter. This indicates two things. If the air is coming out from the center, that means that the valve components or the seal are leaking. So the actual seal in the valve is losing air. If there is air escaping from around the valve, what it is showing me is that the valve is either misseated or not torqued properly, and the seal around the valve and the PVC is causing it to lose air. So I'll be testing this valve to see what kind of leak we have. Now those bubbles are a very clear indicator that something is happening in the seal between the valve top and the PVC. So I'm going to start with one of the very simple solutions. Simply taking the wrench from my repair kit, I'm going to just torque this valve down. Now that one was easy to torque, so I want to test it a second time and see if that might have taken care of my problem. Now, I'm pretty satisfied with that. The second common cause of a leak coming around the perimeter of the valve is the valve itself being misseated, and I'll show you what that is. Oftentimes we see this in a boat that's been worked on recently, and this valve hole needs to be pushed down completely around the shoulder of the B7 valve. In an instance where it is out of place, when the valve cap is threaded down onto the valve neck, there's no way for it to get a good seal, and it will blast air out around the threads. Around the valve, I'm now going to test for a leak in one of the side valves. I'm not seeing anything around the perimeter. That is a very clear leak coming out of the very center of the valve, which I would suspect is caused by the components not holding air correctly. A simple fix for a leak that's coming out from the very center of a valve is just to take a Q-tip and some rubbing alcohol as a cleaner and just clean this valve out in the very center. Now what I'm doing is cleaning the diaphragm and the internal components and trying to dislodge any kind of dust or grit that's gotten in there to foul the valve. I just want to clean that relatively thoroughly, and that might be enough to stop that leak.